In 1979, I gave birth to a daughter. A few days later, my mother-in-law came to our house carrying a baby boy. He's a foundling. Why don't you keep him? Since your daughter hasn't been registered yet, you can claim twins and have both a son and a daughter. My husband nodded in agreement. Mom, since you found him near our home, it must be fate. He'll be a perfect companion for our daughter. I looked down at the baby. We meet again. Dong Dong, my son from a past life. 1. Reborn on the 30th day of the 12th lunar month in 1979, I was fortunate. My child had already been born, sparing me the life-threatening agony of childbirth. Glancing at the baby wrapped snugly by the nurse and placed before me, I felt deeply content. The little girl is quite strong, crying very loudly, 7 pounds and 2 ounces. She's a chubby baby. Seeing me smile, the nurse wiped her hands and stood beside me. It's a girl. That's wonderful. To think it was a daughter, in my past life. I had been searching for my child in entirely the wrong direction. No wonder I could never find my own flesh and blood. I've raised Dong Dong for 10 years. The teacher said this child often skips class and asked me to pay attention. Without telling him, I left the office early and followed him to see where he was going. Only then did I discover he was going to meet his biological mother. No wonder this child has always been so arrogant with me. Turns out he's not my son, so where is my own son? In my previous life, when I gave birth, I passed out from the pain due to tearing. When I opened my eyes, they told me my mother-in-law had already taken the baby home, saying I should rest for a couple of days before going home for postpartum recovery. They must have switched the babies while I was unconscious and hospitalized. Later, I found out he went to see his birth mother, so I sold my job for money and went to find my own son. After all, I heard Dong Dong say with my own ears that after he takes over my position, he would come back to be filial to his own birth mother. This time I didn't faint. I wonder how they'll force Dong Dong onto me. 2. I stayed at the hospital with my daughter for 2 days, and my husband Aaron Ju, my mother-in-law, and my elder sister from my maiden family took turns bringing me meals. However, the food my mother-in-law brought was pitifully scarce, just a tiny bit of steamed buns, a small plate of vegetables, and a large bowl of millet porridge. When my sister saw this, she went home and boiled 20 eggs for me to bring over. Sis, here's 50 yuan, go to the hospital cafeteria and buy me 2 chickens, and make sure you watch them stew it. I knew my sister didn't have any money on her. She was born with a kind heart, often using her monthly salary to help others, leaving little for herself. Because of this, my mother had scolded and even beaten her. But she just couldn't change. While she was at the hospital cafeteria, I told Mom that from now on, she should collect my sister's salary and give her 10 yuan each month, but only allow her to help students from her own school. Don't sympathize with just anything. Hearing this, my mom's eyes lit up, and she happily slapped her thigh. Actually, I've been thinking about this since I was reborn. As for my sister, because she helped a mother and son pair. The man Li Baojun kept thinking she was interested in him and pestered her every day, but my sister and mother both disagreed, so he kept pestering her. That's why I'm already married with children, while my sister still doesn't have a proper partner. I know in our past life, my sister couldn't withstand his persistence and married Li Baojun after our mother passed away, but this Li Baojun revealed his true nature after marriage: drinking, domestic violence. Quite an incompetent man who actually dared to be abusive. At that time, I was searching for my child frantically, even threatening my mother-in-law with a knife, demanding to know where my real child was. Both my mother-in-law and Aaron Ju insisted that Dong Dong was my son, claiming I had mental issues. Even Dong Dong lied to the doctor, saying I beat him every day. As a result, I was diagnosed with mental illness, tied to a chair at home by Aaron Ju, who went around proclaiming I was insane and had to be locked up indoors. My sister took advantage of Aaron Ju working the night shift to jump over from the yard and untie me. My frail sister was my savior back then, my sunshine. I chased my sister away, telling her to wait for me at our parents' former home. Then I locked the room where my mother-in-law and Dong Dong were sleeping from the outside, poured gasoline, and lit a fire in the darkness. Then I came to Dong Dong's biological mother's yard, locked it from the outside, poured gasoline in the same way, and lit the fire, watching Aranju and Dongdong's biological mother Xiaojuan, who were working the night shift, continuously banging on the door inside and begging for mercy. The satisfaction in my heart was indescribable. Despair. Aranju, you rented such a remote little house for your affair, with not even a neighbor around. The final stop was, of course, my sister's house, where the family of 3 who had once been helped by my sister were sound asleep. Burn them to death, and everyone will just think it was done by a madman. No one would suspect my sister. My sister's spotless reputation over the years would protect her. Later, I was locked away in a mental hospital. But no one dared to bully my sister ever again. 3. Mom, you're holding on to my sister's salary. Don't let her kindness be taken advantage of. Heaven gave her a compassionate heart, but not the wisdom to discern evil. I reminded my mother. She had to take charge of my sister's affairs. What do you think we should do? Your sister's temperament is driving me crazy. My mom is the traditional type, doting on her children. Although she only has the 2 of us daughters, she's perfectly content. Let's find a live-in son-in-law for my sister. No rush. Once I finish my postpartum confinement, I'll take my time picking the right one. There's really no hurry. My sister has a job, and public safety is good these days. Anyone who dares to act like a hooligan will definitely end up behind bars. After being discharged from the hospital, I went home for my postpartum confinement. I set myself a standard of eating 1 whole chicken every 2 days. Aranju frowned. What? Seeing me give birth to a daughter, I'm not worthy of eating chicken. I sneered. Damn man, let you cheat. You even had a child earlier than me, and swapped my daughter. Who would have thought that anyone would be willing to exchange their son for my daughter in this male-dominated world? No, Ying, you're the hero of our family. You deserve whatever you want to eat. I just feel like I'm not doing well enough, and Mom still has back pain, so she can't take care of you during your confinement. He quickly corrected himself. This is what he calls my dominance. I am indeed dominant, with only 2 sisters in the family and our elder sister's birth mother being like that. If I weren't strong-willed, our family would have been taken advantage of long ago. If I weren't strong-willed, I wouldn't have become the director of the factory medical department. If he disliked my strong personality, he shouldn't have married me in the first place. It would have been better to marry someone gentle, now that I've arranged a job for him. He complains about me being too strong-willed. What a piece of work. I really can't stand him acting like this. Is Mom's back hurting? From now on, I'll send her the leftover chicken I eat so she can nourish herself. I was afraid Aranju might drug me. Mental illness always makes one overthink. Really? He asked joyfully. Of course it's true. She's my mother-in-law. After all, it's only right to be filial to her. How dare you drug me? Your mother will die too. 4. I just never expected Dong to come into my life this way. I recovered very well during this postpartum month, and my daughter grew up pink and tender, such an incredibly adorable little baby. She blows bubbles even in her sleep. Every time I see her, I feel the harshness in my heart softening. This little one is just too adorable. In her past life, how did she live? Every time my heart feels like melting, this question always comes to mind, reminding me over and over that the murderer is still by my side. I don't even dare to imagine what kind of life my daughter had in her past life. But it doesn't matter. I have a lifetime to make it up to her, to earn her lots and lots of money, buy many houses, and everything she loves. Although the cold wind howls outside, my home is warm and cozy. Aranju was by my side playing with our daughter, but he seemed restless and uneasy, clearly preoccupied with something. Then my mother-in-law pushed the door open and came in, holding a blue swaddle in her arms. Ying, I found a child at the alley entrance on my way to your house. A boy. As she spoke, she placed the child beside the bed, next to my daughter. It's a found child. Why don't you keep and raise him? After all, the child hasn't been registered yet. Suddenly having twins would mean you'd have both a son and daughter. My husband nodded in agreement. Mom, since you found him near our home, it must be fate. He'll be a perfect companion for our daughter. I looked down at the baby. We meet again. Dong. 5. This child is so well behaved, doesn't cry or fuss. You should just raise them. After all, the child is still young. Whoever raises them will bond with them. my mother-in-law continued to persuade. Okay, Mom, Ying's salary can easily support 2 children without any problem, Aranju chimed in, and just like that, the matter was settled between him and his mother. No. I don't want to, I refused. But why, Ying? You earn a good salary, and we can definitely afford to raise another child. Aranju tried to persuade me. It's not about the salary. This child isn't mine. What if we raise him and his real parents come looking for him someday? Then all my effort would have been for nothing. That child was already ungrateful by nature. I would raise him, but I had to make sure this mother and son paid the price. What real parents? What kind of parents would abandon their child in the snow? They clearly don't care, my mother-in-law scoffed. Maybe they're watching to see who picks it up, watching you hand the child to me, then later making me pay to raise the child before coming back to claim it. I'm not a fool, and it's not like I can't have my own. Raising someone else's child is out of the question. I still refused. Mom, if you're so fond of it, take it and raise it yourself. You're still young. Just treat it as your youngest son. It'll grow up close to you. How nice. That old hag harmed my daughter, and now she wants me to raise an ungrateful brat. She's the worst. I couldn't possibly, at my age, raising a child. People would laugh. Then how about this? I'll put the child back and wait until nightfall to see if anyone comes looking. If no one does, we'll keep him. Okay. Seeing my refusal, my mother-in-law began to retreat strategically. That won't do. In this kind of weather, leaving the child outside would freeze him. Aranju couldn't bear the thought of his son suffering. Anyway, I don't agree. If you want to raise him, do it yourselves. I'm already struggling with 1 child. I continued to refuse, yet my eyes couldn't help but drift toward Dong Dong. Mother-in-law gave Aranju a meaningful look. I'm sleepy. Take the baby away. I need to rest for a while. The baby was fussing so much yesterday. I pretended to be too drowsy to keep my eyes open and prepared to lie down for sleep. Mother-in-law and Aranju then left. I pricked up my ears, eavesdropping on what this mother-son pair was discussing. 6. Mom, didn't you say all women soften up after having kids? Why isn't Ying like that? How can she be so heartless? Aranju grumbled quietly. Her concerns are understandable. She's afraid the biological mother might come looking for the child, making all her efforts go to waste. Sighed the mother-in-law. What should we do then? Aranju asked helplessly. What a useless man. How could anyone possibly fancy him? I'll just go out and ask around, see who's had a baby recently, and say the child's birth mother is dead. Mother-in-law still had her ways. Will that work? Lan might get upset if she hears. Aranju truly loved Lan and wouldn't let anyone speak ill of her. Don't be foolish, just say she's dead. It's not like she'll actually die. How did you even get tangled up with such a vixen? Ying may be formidable, but at least she's a woman who knows how to live properly, and that Lan, flaunting herself all day. If this were a few years ago, she'd absolutely be sent for labor reform. Mother-in-law gritted her teeth in anger. If it weren't for the fact that she gave birth to Dong Dong, I'd have stormed over there long ago. Dong Dong, you'd better take good care of him. He's my eldest grandson. Mother-in-law was probably quite angry, her voice rising. Aranju quickly shushed her, and I couldn't hear what they were saying anymore. I poked Dong Dong lightly, and he immediately burst into loud crying. Aranju hurried in and picked up Dong Dong, his face full of tenderness. Take him to the other side. He's disturbing our daughter's sleep, I said, shielding the baby's cradle with my arm. Looking annoyed. Aranju angrily tried to say something but was stopped by his mother. Ying, rest well. I'll take this baby outside. 7. Forget it, I said helplessly. Leave the child here for now. Let's take care of him for a couple of days and see if his parents come looking. How could they bear to abandon such a tiny child in the snow? I certainly couldn't. I was genuinely afraid they might send Dong Dong back. Lan was an educated youth sent to the countryside. After returning to the city, she had no job and no place in her family. For the sake of survival, she would do anything. So when Aranju, the easy mark, got involved with her, he rented her an apartment and gave her an allowance, providing her with a place to settle down. In my past life, I always thought half of Aranju's salary went to my mother-in-law. Turns out, it was all spent on that seductress. But, Mom, now that we have a child, expenses have increased. From now on, Aranju's salary won't be handed over to you anymore. I'll need that 50 yuan myself. I noticed Aranju's hand trembling slightly as he just put Dong Dong down. 50. The mother-in-law was somewhat surprised. She should have known her son was supporting Lan Lan. But she never expected him to give Lan Lan 50 yuan. That's right, Aranju earns 60 yuan a month and gives you 50 every month. You don't need that much just for yourself. Why not let me use it to raise the kids? I hinted that I suddenly had 2 more children to support. Oh, I see. The mother-in-law gritted her teeth. Ying, Mom doesn't have a salary. She needs some money to rely on when living alone. Aranju couldn't help but speak up. Then I saw my mother-in-law give him a hard pinch. Someone as formidable as my mother-in-law wouldn't give Lan Lan so much money without feeling heartache. Hate her. Go ahead and hate Lan Lan. It's best if you dogs bite each other. Mom must have saved 500 or 600 this year. Don't make it too much. She lives alone, and it wouldn't be good to attract thieves. I pretended to comfort him. Why don't you move in with us? Mom, it's a bit cramped. But you could help me with the kids. I can't handle 2 children alone. And I'll be worried when I go back to work. Perfect chance to stir things up between this mother and son. I'd rather not move in. I'm quite comfortable living alone. Ying. I'll come help you with the kids every day, but there's no need for me to live with you. I knew it. When I had my daughter, I asked her to cook for me, but she said her back hurt and couldn't do it. Now with 2 kids, she's even more afraid to come. Ying, Mom isn't very familiar here, so I'll take care of you instead. But I think we should still give Mom money every month. How else will she manage? Fine, from now on I'll collect your salary and give Mom money every month. You don't need to worry about it. 8. Aranju and his mother-in-law got nothing but rejection, and he even lost the right to receive his own salary. It was truly a case of going for wool and coming home shorn. In the following days, I kept Aranju well occupied every day. Early in the morning, I asked him to wash the diapers first, dry them on the small stove, and then cook. I fed our daughter milk while he prepared formula milk for Dong Dong. I ate while he watched the 2 kids. I took over caring for our daughter while he went to eat, wash dishes, catch a chicken, slaughter it, and stew it. I take a nap while he eats, washes dishes, and changes Dong Dong's diaper. At night, I cuddle with our daughter to sleep. When she wakes up, I breastfeed her, and when Dong Dong wakes up, I kick Aranju to go make formula milk for his beloved son. In short, I can't let him rest for a moment. He must take good care of this little emperor. You can't just focus on our daughter and ignore Dong Dong. He complains to me in the morning with dark circles under his eyes. A person's energy is limited. I can't just ignore my own biological daughter to take care of a child we picked up. I wasn't having any of his excuses. Besides, I'm worried that if we raise the child and their birth parents come to take them back someday, wouldn't all my efforts be wasted? And another thing, if we have our own son later, can you guarantee you'll treat Dong Dong fairly? I may have a sharp tongue, but my heart is soft. If we take good care of Dong Dong now but end up making him feel unfairly treated after having our own son, how awful would that be? Some emotions, once given, are hard to take back. What if I develop real feelings for Dong Dong and then have to see him suffer later? I'd hate myself for that. If we're going to raise children, we must genuinely treat them well. Unless this pair is our only children and will never have any others in the future, only then would I dare to pour all my love into Dong Dong without reservation, without looking up from watching my daughter drinking milk with her eyes tightly shut. I said to Aranju, so you mean, as long as Dong Dong's birth mother doesn't come looking for him, and I get a vasectomy, you'll treat Dong Dong as your own? His voice was full of surprise. I looked up at him and nodded earnestly. Well, Ying, since we've started family planning now anyway, I'll go get a vasectomy. 9. Not long after, my mother-in-law came to tell me about Dong Dong's origins. I've made all the inquiries. An old friend of mine who's a midwife said that around those days, only old Xiao's daughter-in-law gave birth to a son. But the mother died from complications after childbirth, and their family thought the child was unlucky, so they abandoned him. I guarantee they'll never come looking for our Dong Dong. Oh my. Dong Dong will be my eldest grandson from now on. The mother-in-law beamed with joy as she looked at Dong Dong. Which Qiao family? You don't know them. They live near East Plank Bridge and have many children. They don't treasure kids much. But our family has had only one heir for 3 generations, now with Dong Dong. It's 4 generations. The mother-in-law's backache disappeared as she held Dong Dong, overjoyed. Having a sole heir for 3 generations is truly wonderful. You'll have no descendants from now on. The old lady can only be happy for a few more days. But although this child is a few days older than our Xiaobao, why does he look about the same size as Xiaobao? The mother-in-law frowned. It must be because he eats less. My breast milk isn't enough for 2 children. So Dong Dong gets formula. She looks about the same age as my daughter. Don't confuse right and wrong. Ying, you should nourish yourself well. I'll go buy you some crucian carp. My mother-in-law said as she put down the child and went out, just as my sister was stepping in. Ying, I've stewed pig's trotters for you, my sister said, placing the aluminum lunchbox by my bed. My mother-in-law paused mid-step while buying crucian carp, glanced back seeing me staring at her, then hurried out again. Why are there 2 kids here? My sister asked me in surprise. 10. I whispered the child's background story into my sister's ear. My sister's eyes were already red with anger. Back then he was the one chasing you every day. You found him a job, paid for his mother's medical treatment, and now he treats you like this. I'll kill him. No wonder you're my own sister. When pushed to the extreme, you'd kill someone just like me. I quickly stopped her and explained my plan again. My sister nodded while tears streamed down her face. Why are you crying? See, you can't be too nice to people. If you're kind, they take it for granted. Just like you, if that Li Baojun hadn't kept harassing you, you'd have settled down long ago. I seized the chance to lecture her. Yes. Sometimes I just can't bear to see others suffer. She wiped her tears and admitted her mistake voluntarily. It's rare for my sister to acknowledge her mistake. Sis, you didn't do anything wrong. They're the ones in the wrong. That's why I told Mom that from now on, you can only help students at your school. Helping students might change their destinies, but helping adults is unnecessary. I still needed to make sure she learned her lesson. In my past life, I was too rigid. And she was too soft. Our sisterly relationship wasn't harmonious. I can't understand her saintly demeanor, and she doesn't comprehend my aloofness. We sisters have never had such a heart-to-heart conversation before, but my sister still risked her life to save me. Even if she disapproves of my ferocious appearance, she couldn't bear to see me locked up at home as a madwoman, so she climbed over the wall to rescue me. Later, I was admitted to a psychiatric hospital, and she was the only one who came to visit me. 11. I understand. From now on, I'll listen to you. Whatever you say, I'll do. My sister wiped away her tears and pushed the braised pork trotters toward me with a smile. Hurry up and eat. Once you're full, you can breastfeed our little treasure. Thanks to good postpartum care, I had plenty of breast milk, which kept our little treasure healthy and thriving. The little girl was pink all over. Even her tiny fingernails had that pearly pink hue. Utterly adorable. When Aaron Ju handed me the sterilization certificate, he told me to go register the 2 children's household status. I didn't quite trust him, so I secretly took the certificate to the hospital to verify its authenticity. After confirming it was genuine, I carried Dong Dong to my bed, using the excuse that he should rest well at night while I took care of the child. Of course, I also prepared formula milk for him to drink. After feeding my daughter, I fed him. Aaron Ju struggled to get up to see his son. When he saw me feeding Dong Dong with formula milk, he frowned and said, "Didn't you say you'd treat Dong Dong as your own after I got the vasectomy? You also said as your own." Right now, I don't have enough breast milk, so of course I have to prioritize feeding the baby first. Aren't I feeding the child now? Can't you let Dong Dong drink breast milk and give the baby formula? Aaron Ju actually raised his voice at me. Say what you just said again. My face turned cold as I pulled the bottle out of Dong Dong's mouth. Dong Dong burst into loud wails. You, he stammered for a long time without getting the words out. What I meant was, what should we do when the formula runs out? Let Dong Dong drink from one side and our daughter from the other. Wouldn't that be fair? After much deliberation, he still wanted me to breastfeed Dong Dong. No way, people naturally prioritize their own kin. How could I feed an adopted child while letting my own biological child go hungry? I lazily watched Dong Dong wail dryly as I rocked him slowly, but his crying also woke up my daughter. I put down the still sobbing Dong Dong and picked up my own child. Are you saying Dong Dong only gets to eat what Xiaobao leaves behind? That he only gets whatever Xiaobao doesn't want? His face darkened as if it could drip water. Aaron Ju, surely you understand this. Xiaobao is my biological daughter. Born after I risked my life through a difficult birth, Dong Dong is a child abandoned by his parents. Tell me, if you were me, would you cherish more the child you carried for 10 months, connected by blood, or some random child you picked up? I rocked my daughter gently, ignoring Dong Dong's dry wails beside me. A person's energy is limited, and a family's resources are also limited. Of course, I would treat Dong Dong as my own child, but the premise is that my biological child comes first. Aaron Ju's gaze toward Xiaobao was as if laced with poison. 12. I asked my sister to borrow a camera from her colleague, teacher's son. It was quite a precious item. I brought it back to take full-month photos of my Xiaobao. I spent 20 yuan to buy film for my sister, and she ended up buying 2 rolls at once. After taking the full moon photos, I officially completed my postpartum confinement. From now on, let Xiaobao be the older sister and Dong Dong be the younger brother. After all, Dong Dong arrived in our family a few days later than Xiaobao, I suggested, but neither my mother-in-law nor Aaron Ju responded. Then go register the children's household registration. They've already passed their full moon, so it's time they were added to our family register, I urged Aaron Ju. I'm on night shift tonight. I'll go when I switch to the day shift. He lowered his head without saying a word. Mother-in-law just kept rocking Dong Dong in her arms. All right, Mom. I'll be going back to work in a few days. You and my mom can take turns looking after the 2 kids, since you can hold the baby. Your back pain must be better now, right? All right, don't worry about going to work. I'll take good care of both kids for you. From now on, I promise to come early every morning to look after them. Ying, these 2 children are really destined. Look how they're growing more and more alike, mother-in-law exclaimed with pleasant surprise at her discovery. How could they not look alike? They're from the same father. Forget it, I guess I just insulted my daughter too. After dinner, my mother-in-law left, Aaron Ju went to work the night shift, and my sister also took the camera and went home. I quickly took my daughter out of her pink swaddle and tucked her into Dong Dong's blue one. I put Dong Dong into my daughter's pink swaddling clothes again. The 2 babies do look very similar, without lifting the diaper to check. Their appearance and weight are almost the same. After all, I haven't been feeding Dong Dong much these past few days, deliberately keeping his weight close to the babies. My sister told me during the day that she saw my mother-in-law and Lan Lan wandering around the train station for a long time. Finally, my mother-in-law struck up a conversation with a middle-aged woman. I suspect my mother-in-law will make her move tonight, but I'm not sure how she'll manage to send me out. 13. Around 9 in the evening, someone knocked on the door. Zhu Ying. Right, I'm your mother-in-law's neighbor. She just had a fall and asked me to come get you. She wants you to take her to the hospital. Sun Lan Lan nervously eyed me while quickly reciting her lines. Is it really my mother-in-law? She has diabetes. It must be her blood sugar being too high. Wait a moment. I'll grab the glucose-lowering medicine and go right away. Could you please go to the factory and let my husband know? Do you know where he works? I went back inside to get the glucose-lowering medicine and glanced at the 2 children. I turned around and locked the front gate. I know, your husband is Aaron Ju, right? Your mother-in-law always brags about her son. I know him. Hurry and take your mother-in-law to the hospital. I'll help notify your husband. Your 2 children are so lovely. Are they twins? Sun Lan Lan pretended to glance back at them. Yes, the blue swaddle holds my son. And the pink one holds my daughter. Both children are the treasures of my heart. I quickly left the alley and then crouched behind the dark brick wall with my sister, waiting. Sun Lan Lan opened the door to my house as if she were a thief. Needless to ask, that key must have been given to her by Aaron Ju, that rotten man. Full of bad ideas but afraid to act on them. Quick to absolve oneself when trouble arises, I saw Sun Lan Lan running through the alley holding a pink swaddle. Separating from her sister, she followed Sun Lanlan with a camera and firecrackers, while I rushed back inside to check the blue swaddle, only relaxing after confirming my daughter was the one left behind. When my sister returned, she handed me the film she had removed and said something that shocked me. Sun Lanlan and the child were both dragged onto the car. I saw her trying to get off, but someone poured water into her mouth. The train schedule is this one. No need to prepare firecrackers at all. The camera shutter sound isn't loud, and the flash isn't noticeable. None of them are looking this way. I asked my sister to watch the child while I stuffed the entire bottle of hypoglycemic medication into my pocket. 14. The old woman even pretended to be unconscious in the yard just to keep me calm. She really went all out. It's freezing cold out here. Aren't you afraid of freezing to death? Mom, what's wrong with you? Is your blood sugar too high? Here. Take some diabetes medicine. Let's go to the hospital. I quickly helped the old lady up. The old lady must have heard footsteps and just laid down. Her hands were still warm to the touch. Suppressing my amusement, I heard her say weakly, "Ying, I might not make it. My blood sugar spiked. And I forgot to take my medicine. What should I do? I can't even go to the hospital. There's no one to take care of me. Could you stay tonight and look after me? Why wouldn't it work, Mom? Hurry up and take your medicine first." I poured water and grabbed 3 glucose-lowering pills, shoving them into her mouth. The old lady swallowed them without looking clearly. After a while, I asked her, "Mom, are you still feeling unwell? The 2 kids are home alone. If you're better, I'll go back to check on them." I stood up and looked at her. The mother-in-law lying on the bed looked weak and in pain. With a hint of stubbornness, she spoke in a faint voice, "I'm feeling better. Don't worry about me. The child is what matters." Even as she said this, it seemed she might collapse at any moment. Quite a ruthless old woman. She sold her own granddaughter and her son's mistress to human traffickers in one go. Now she's putting on quite the act of being sick. "Mom, is your diabetes medication not working? I don't think you're doing well. Let me take you to the hospital." "No need, don't spend money on me. You all work hard for your earnings. And you'll need to raise children later. I'm already old. Don't waste that money." "But Mom, you can't go on like this." I was on the verge of tears. "Bring me 2 more diabetes pills. What a pity for my rock sugar." Now the old lady ate it all herself. 15. In the dead of night, when she saw I was about to leave, she pulled the same trick again, telling me to hurry and go. If I didn't leave, she'd take more sugar-lowering pills. After several rounds of back and forth, dawn broke. I packed the remaining sugar-lowering pills into a bottle and left, letting her start vomiting behind me. By the time I got home, it still wasn't light out. My sister was playing with her daughter, seemingly too scared to sleep herself. "Is that old woman still pretending to be sick?" my sister asked, and I nodded. I didn't dare tell her that I'd replaced the powder in the blood sugar-lowering capsules with powdered rock candy. The old woman already had high blood sugar. This was probably going to be rough for her. My sister can accept punishing bad people, but she wouldn't be able to accept her own sister being a murderer. Thinking about my past life, I've killed many people, yet now I've only taken this one life. Let them bring about their own doom. 2 have already been sent off. Changed my daughter into her other swaddling clothes, burned Dongdong's blue set to ashes at the bottom of the pot. Along with the remaining few hypoglycemic capsules, took the opportunity to make breakfast as well, building up emotions, waiting for Aaron Ju to get off work. By the time Aaron Ju entered the door, the ginger slices had already made me cry uncontrollably. "Aaron Ju, last night Mom was sick. And I went to see her." I clearly remember locking the door, but when I came back, the child was still missing. I flung myself at him with snot running down my nose, disgusting him so much that he kept backing away. "What do you think we should do?" "Don't worry, Ying, what's wrong?" He wasn't a professional actor and couldn't suppress the amusement in his eyes. When I looked at him tearfully, he quickly averted his gaze. "I was perfectly fine at home yesterday when someone knocked on the door. A woman claimed to be Mom's neighbor and said Mom was sick. Mom asked me to check on her, so I rushed over. Mom had collapsed in the yard. So I helped her inside and suggested taking her to the hospital, but she absolutely refused." After saying this, I burst into tears. He wasn't in a hurry and simply waited for me to finish crying before asking, and then I took care of Mom all night. She said she wasn't feeling well but didn't want to go to the hospital. I came back this morning after making her breakfast, but when I got home, I found my child was gone. My child is missing. Do you think I should call the police? I stared at Aranju. Let's search quietly ourselves. Don't call the police. Maybe we can find the child. Last night on my way to return the camera, I saw a somewhat dark-skinned woman hurriedly carrying a child toward the train station. The sister chimed in. All right, Yingying, you take care of our son. I'll go look for Xiaobao, 16. Aranju, I called out to him in confusion. I'm fine, not sleepy. Don't worry about me. I'll go find it myself. He quickly ran out. His sister frowned deeply. That trash. I wish heaven would strike him dead with lightning. What a heartless, immoral scoundrel. It seems he was the one behind this idea. I didn't even say who was missing, yet he naturally assumed it was Xiaobao. It must be because they're in cahoots. Yingying. Thank goodness you thought ahead. Otherwise, with their schemes catching us off guard, Xiaobao would have really been in trouble. His sister sighed heavily. It wasn't until evening that Aranju finally came home, shaking his head at me. Yingying, it's truly impossible to find him in such a vast crowd. Don't be sad, we still have Dong Dong. His acting has improved. Did he notice that Sun Lanlan is also missing? No, Aranju, listen to me. I didn't have time to tell you this morning. You were in such a hurry to go out looking for the child, but the child who's missing is Dong Dong. 17. What did you say? His eyes widened with fury as he began to shout, it's Dong Dong who's missing. Xiaobao is safe and sound right here, I replied, looking at him strangely. Holy shit, he dashed out the door again. I followed him with Xiaobao in my arms, watching as he headed toward that remote house and banged loudly on the door. Lanlan, Lanlan, you idiot, open the damn door. He knocked for a while, but no one answered the door, so he headed back to his mother-in-law's house. Pushing open the door, he saw his own mother collapsed on the floor below the kang. Mom, what's wrong with you? Didn't you say you were faking it? How did you really get sick? He was momentarily bewildered. Sitting there, he began to cry. Mom, didn't you say you were pretending to be sick? You were supposed to stall Zhu Yingying, but it's my son who's missing. It's Dong Dong. Mom, I quickly called the neighbors over for help. Our Aranju came home early this morning and heard some terrible news. He's been out all day, and just now when he came to see Grandma, he found her lying on the ground. Everyone, please help. Take Grandma to the hospital and help Aranju up too, I said with a sorrowful expression to the neighbors. But many neighbors had already heard what he said earlier. When he came home early this morning, he must have been in high spirits. His troublesome daughter was gone. And everything of mine would belong to his son from now on. Only after losing my child would I devote myself wholeheartedly to Dong Dong. Deliberately avoiding calling the police, he dawdled outside all day, only to return home and suddenly realize everything was a dream. The reality was, his only son, the sole heir of 3 generations, was missing. He had indeed gotten a vasectomy, his lover had vanished, and his mother had died. This shock was utterly devastating. While the neighbors rushed to help the old lady up, he began shouting hysterically, Aranju, don't let the old woman pass on unsettled. Look, she hasn't even finished this bowl of rice yet. A respected elderly neighbor tried to persuade him. Meal? What meal? My mom is obviously pretending to be sick. She's not ill, just has high blood sugar. Nothing serious. Mom, get up quickly and eat, your son will feed you. Sure enough, he broke down. I took Xiaobao and arranged the funeral for my mother-in-law. Then I took care of Aranju for a few days, telling him he might never see Dong Dong again in his lifetime, and that the other woman had been taken away by traffickers. He didn't need a doctor's diagnosis. Any normal person could see he was mentally ill. I had someone take him to a psychiatric hospital, sold his job, asked my mom to help take care of Xiaobao while I went to work, with the money from selling his job. I opened a breakfast shop while working. By the time my sister got married, Xiaobao was already in kindergarten, and the colleague who lent her the camera became my brother-in-law. The two shared common aspirations and had a deep bond, because I dealt with Li Baojun and his mother as well, sending them to where they belonged. When Xiaobao grew older, one day I took her to the psychiatric hospital to visit her father, explaining that she wasn't fatherless, just that her dad was ill. Aaron Ju stared at Xiaobao's face and went berserk. Damn brat, I abandoned you in your past life, never thought you'd grow up in this one. Look, Xiaobao, your father is just sick, always talking about past lives and present lives, it's incurable. I comforted her while watching Xiaobao's expression. No, Mom. I think there's a devil living inside Dad's body. This devil has already replaced my dad, just let him stay here. As Xiaobao grew older, when she was 10, my sister called me to go to the hospital. Xiaobao's deskmate always bullies others. Today he flicked ink all over Xiaobao with a pen again and said Xiaobao doesn't have a father, that she's a fatherless child. So Xiaobao grabbed his hair and beat him up. My sister explained the situation to me. But this deskmate was nothing but trouble. He called his uncle to fight with Xiaobao after school, breaking Xiaobao's left arm and nearly severing his little finger, sister said. Shedding tears of distress, all fingers are connected to the heart. Mine ached with pain too. Who are her deskmate's parents? What does his uncle do? I forced myself to stay calm. Her deskmate's parents are one from the tax bureau and one a homemaker. That uncle is a high school student. High school students bullying elementary school kids. I was truly shocked. After so many years without wielding a blade, I wonder if mine has dulled. It's time to show these parents the destructive power of a reborn psychopath. On the way to school, I suddenly remembered my past life. Before my rebirth, when my sister came to visit me at the mental hospital, back then, because our family had suffered tragic deaths, no one dared to bully her. And she lived with her head held high. She told me she had adopted a little girl and planned to live together as mother and daughter from then on. Except the little girl was missing a pinky finger on her hand. Yes, it was the left hand that was missing it. The little girl had been bullied, and no one at the orphanage stood up for her or got her to the hospital in time, so her left hand was left disabled. So my daughter had followed her sister in her past life as well.